Hello everyone. I recently went from being a Tekken YouTuber to being a Tekken YouTuber and streamer, and it's been a wild ride so far, and I'm having so much fun with it. I need to thank you for the amazing support that I've been shown so far. It's kind of rekindled my love for playing this game online in a lot of ways, because now when I'm sitting there grinding, it's not just me in silence focusing on the game. I'm having all these fun interactions with people in the chat. I'm getting stream sniped, which I always really enjoy. So thank you so much. Unfortunately, we need to talk about a kind of turd in the punch bowl today. And I was debating with myself whether or not I should really make this video, because it's dark enough, the things I'm speculating about, and it is speculation, but I do have good reasons for talking about what I'm talking about, but it's dark and depressing enough that it might honestly ruin your passion for playing this game online. It might make you feel like playing this game online at this point is completely pointless, but I decided that I wanted to do it anyway because we have millions of people playing this game all over the world, and many are suffering and confused inside of this online infrastructure and ecosystem, and I think they deserve to know what might actually be going on. Now, we've made a couple of videos about cheating on this channel before. The one that got the most attention was the one where I showed you how you can use something known as an editor to do all kinds of magical things inside of the game. So for example, what that software can do for you is, when you match up against somebody in the lobby, it will show you who the opponent is, their name, their rank, and their character. And like I said in that video, if that was the only advantage that the software gave you, it's already huge enough of an advantage that it invalidates any kind of progress you make as a Tekken player. It completely invalidates your rank and everything else, right? But then other things you can do is, for example, say, next time I win a match, I would like to get the rank Tekken God Prime or TGO, and if you win a single match, it will instantly promote you to that place. And then we talked about things like the one-hit kill hack, which is a hack that makes it so that when you hit an opponent with a single poke in the first round, you instantly win all 3 rounds. And it registers as a win on your side, and then you can use a forced desync to escape that match and run away with your artificial win. But if you were the victim of a player like that, it's likely that you would sort of understand that something was going on if there was a desync after a single hit in the first round, and so on. But it turns out that Tekken cheating has since then evolved in some pretty serious ways, and it's become really quite subtle. And I think it might be the fact that you are constantly, when you're playing online right now, playing against many people who are cheating in all kinds of ways, and you might not realize it because of how subtle and sophisticated it's gotten. And I started thinking about this a while ago when Lil Majin made a video about this, where he talked about how not only are people running scripts and doing all these things, but when you try and talk about it in a serious way, there's a lot of disinformation and counterattacking that happens all of a sudden. Not counterattacking in the game, we'll get to that as well, but sort of in the social media space, because you have so many people using these cheats that they don't want it to be common knowledge. They don't want it to be understood well. But it's also true that the people who create these hacks and create this software, they're selling it for money, and so they stand to gain financially from this information being suppressed, and from all of this being poorly understood, right? And that's why you have to be very careful when you talk about this sort of thing. Now, then something really interesting happened 2 days ago. I woke up and I looked at my Discord, which I have now with hundreds of members who are talking about the game and posting memes and stuff. It's really amazing and enjoyable. But a person contacted me privately on Discord, and for the purposes of this video, we're going to call him Mike. And Mike told me that something had happened with him when he was playing Tekken. He was playing with a group of people online, and I'm sorry if I'm misquoting your story a little bit. Me and Mike have had like a long back and forth with like essays and links on Discord at this point. But the way I understand it is he was playing with a group of people that he knew online, and they had this discourse going on where they talk like Tekken players do about how it's really hard to rank up, how the online environment feels unfair, how Tekken is a very punishing game to try and be good at. But then all of a sudden, one of the people in this circle seems to gain a lot of confidence in the way he talks about the game, and he all of a sudden starts to rank up really quick. And before long, everybody but Mike in this his circle of friends is doing extremely well and getting high ranks. And so he thought it was a little bit weird and suspicious. He started downloading some match footage and looking at it closely, and became convinced that these people were all cheating. He confronted some of them about it and basically had it confirmed. And then all of a sudden, these excuses start happening. Well, I have it installed, but I don't really use it. I'm just using it to escape the environments or the matches that are really unfair. I'm using it to learn and become a better player, or getting the rank I feel like I actually deserve, and so on. Completely delusional things like that. And so I think that motivated him to start looking into this a little bit more deeply, and he's been into forums where people who create the code for this hang out, and where people are debating, in a serious, heated fashion, the morality of using these cheats, right? And he's shown me all kinds of things. The price tag, by the way, that Mike showed me, if you want to buy now a software package that allows you to do basically everything inside the game when it comes to scripting and cheating, can be as expensive as between $300 to $400. So it's a lot of money to become a fake good Tekken player, but it also means that a lot of people have a lot of time and energy invested in this sort of thing. But it's kind of prophetic in a way, because I was having that conversation with Mike in the morning, and then that day I sat down to stream, and I had the longest stream I've ever done since I started. I was playing the game for 6 hours, more than 6 hours. And by the end, I had a lot of fun. I was exhausted. My voice was gone, but I had a really fun stream with you guys. Thank you so much for showing up to it, those of you who did. But at one point, I ran into something that felt so strange to me. An opponent that felt so strange to me that I was convinced that something was going on. And we're going to look at that match really quickly right now, and then we're going to keep talking. But it's interesting when you look at this clip from the stream, right, how I feel like if you look at my face and you listen to what I'm saying, I've played, tens of thousands of Tekken matches. I've actually I'm at high ranks now, but I've made that journey by playing all these matches and putting in years and years of hard work. And I think it's sort of instinctual how I realize that something is going on quite quickly, and I can't put my finger on it, but by the end of the match I'm basically convinced that I'm playing against somebody who's using some sort of software. So let's have a look at it and see if you agree. So we're going to open this window right here. We're going to have Zafina go away a little bit, and we're going to play. Okay, so this is me matching up against an Italian player called Cheese. Let's just play the match out and see what happened on stream, okay?
Plus, dude. And he's got these crazy defensive ability, throw countering, and punishment. Those are like
the first indications that something weird was going on, because those aren't Tekken stats that you
wizard. Look at
really
the
see.
Dude, this is clearly a wizard. Hey, nice job being a wizard, dude.
So you can see right away that not only am I doing a Tekken tail,
oh, that was weird.
And it's not getting punished, even though my opponent has S+ for block punishment. He also does a very subpar combo for a TGP player.
This feels weird. Do you guys think this is legit? It seems weird so far. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a hater.
And you can tell that I'm already saying that I think something is up here. It feels strange, right?
Alright, alright.
And if you look at these ducks that start happening right now.
Nah. This looks weird. This looks weird. This looks hella weird. Did you guys see that? Look at the duck. No. This is the first time in my life when something is clearly scripted. This has got it. Like, Cheese, if you are just this good, you're some sort of fucking mega wizard, then I'm really sorry, but this is automatic low blocking and punishing. I mean, it has to be, right? This is clearly not right. I mean, it can't be, right? Yeah, look at that. Look at that. We agree, right? We agree. This has got to be cheating, right?
So we're gonna stop the clip right there, but I think you get the point. It became obvious to me really quite early that something strange was going on in this match. Zafina, stay away for a while. We're gonna look at some other stuff. But I think that this was just an example of the cheating being really, really blatant, right? I think this might be an example of a player who isn't very good at all. You could see that the combo that the person did on Noctis, who happens to be one of the strongest comboing characters in the game, was extremely basic. It was basically launch 4-2, 2-2-2, a bunch of twos, and then just a sword throw at the end. And I think you could get more damage by just adding down forward 1-2. And doing the new 13 frame punishing string that he has instead. But a TGP Noctis should be a combo expert, right? But there were all kinds of things that were going on. And I looked at this in slow motion a couple of times, and I think I realized what was off to me about it. I think I had the strong sense that the opponent's character wasn't reacting, looking at my character, seeing what I did and reacting to it and taking an action. It felt like the opponent's character was reacting specifically to my button presses. I do something on my controller, and then instantly the opponent's character reacts with a perfect response, like those ducks. So most people in my chat agreed that this was obviously a player who was cheating, right? And I don't want to be out here and make accusations when I don't have proof, but I'm confident enough that I'm right about this. So there you go. So I sent this to Mike, the guy who contacted me and started giving me all this information about what's going on with cheating. And his concern, by the way, is that the source code, the code that people are using to do these cheating things, is becoming more available right now. It's sort of spreading throughout the internet. Before, you might have had to spend hundreds of dollars to get your hands on it, but now it seems to become much more available and sort of spreading throughout the internet in certain circles, on certain forums, which means that the people who are cheating are a lot more common and might be out there, and you might be playing against them a lot more than you realize. And then I got a message last night from Mike that made me really quite upset, and that's when I started thinking about maybe making this video, because he looked at the rest of my stream and he said that he doesn't think that this player was the only cheater I played against that day. And he went as far as saying that it looks as though there are at least indications that as much as half or even a majority of the opponents I had might have been doing something. And I'm not accusing anybody here, apart from maybe this person. I need to be very clear about that. I'm a strong believer in the idea that you are innocent unless there's, solid proof against you. And I don't even like talking about this sort of thing, real world people and this kind of negativity. It really isn't something I'm comfortable doing. But he looked through and he said that he saw many, many things from many different opponents that didn't look right. But here's the thing. When the cheating has become this sophisticated, it is extremely difficult to tell. So I want to give you an example of one of the few things that I'm pretty good at as a Tekken player. Is I'm pretty decent at low parrying, and I have all these weaknesses as a player. I have pretty poor reaction speed and so on. My throw breaks aren't as good as they need to be, but I'm pretty good at reading lows and getting low parries. And so something that happened the last few streams is I had a lot of situations where it was, I had a tiny amount of HP left. I managed to find and low parry my opponent's attempt to kill me with a low poke, and then I turn the match around using that low parry because it gives me a full combo, right? That is the sort of thing that happens all the time in Tekken. It's just something that looks and is very clutch. But if you are playing a match against somebody and you're not cheating for almost the entire match, you're just moving around, you're a half-decent player, so you can make it look like you know what you're doing, and then right when you're about to lose a round that you really don't want to lose, you use a hotkey or something, or you activate this software that is then going to make sure that the final interaction is in your favor automatically, and it's just going to look like not something very suspicious and just look really clutch, and you can give yourself free wins that way. And I think we should look at another match from this stream that I want to have a look at. And again, I need to be very clear about this. Apart from this guy Cheese, I'm not accusing any of my opponents of cheating. I have no proof. And I really don't want people to be suspicious about or attack anybody that I've played against. But I want to show you an example of something that also looked a little bit weird to me. And this is kind of my point with the video. When cheating is this prolific and this sophisticated, it kind of poisons your ability to trust other people and to really enjoy the game online. How am I supposed to know if my opponent is actually playing really well and doing amazing things? Because that sort of thing makes you excited and motivated if you love this game, or if they're doing it using some sort of cheating. But we had another match that became a little bit controversial on the stream. So let's go to 3:44:30. I have the time codes written down, so this is further along in the stream. So 3:44:30, so right around here. Okay, so here I'm playing against an opponent called Overlay Hans. And I asked my stream when I saw this, because I genuinely didn't know, why is it the case that some people have this overlay thing in their name when they're playing online? And it turns out, most people apparently knew this, I just didn't, but when you use an overlay app, which is a software that gives you on-screen frame data and move information in real time as you play, to make sure that people are honest about the fact that they're gaining this advantage, the creator of this software forces you to have the word overlay in your name. And so the idea is, I suppose, that if you see somebody who has overlay in their name and you really don't want to play against them, you could maybe Alt F4 out of your game, or you could choose not to play that game or that person multiple times in a row. I still don't think that makes it okay to have this here and to force me to maybe, turn my game off and then go back in, wasting my time in my life, but also, the possibility that I'm running into this person multiple times. I don't think it's okay at all. And I started talking about this. The vast majority of the people in my chat agreed that this is obviously a giant advantage that you shouldn't be allowed to give yourself. But I also had a bunch of people who very, very aggressively wanted to defend this sort of thing and wanted to make it sound like it was completely okay. So let me explain quickly why this isn't okay and gives you a huge advantage, right? So if you have an overlay in the game and you're playing a match against somebody, and your opponent does a move, and you might not have all the information about that move. Maybe it's a string where the second hit is duckable and you don't know that. Maybe one of the hits is punishable on block and you didn't know that. Or maybe you didn't know how punishable it was. The moment that string or that move is repeated, you can now, with the information you've gained in real time during the match, respond in a very effective way. And so one really shitty argument that I saw in my chat was a person saying, well, if you want to know if a move is punishable, you can just attempt to punish it and then you will find out. And those of you who play a lot of Tekken already understand that that's an extremely shitty and flawed argument. It's one of the worst arguments ever made on any topic, because if I want to know if something is punishable and I attempt to punish to try and find out, first of all, I might not execute the punish well. I might think, oh, maybe this is minus 10 and I do my 10 frame move and it doesn't get the punish, but that could be because I pressed the button late. For example, how Northern Cross from Brian is a move that you can punish, but you need to time it well to make it work. It's kind of tricky, so I can't know for a fact if the move is safe or not based on that. But it's also true that if I attempt to punish not knowing if it's going to work or not, my punish could be high, my punish could be punishable in turn, and it could just give my opponent a giant opportunity to launch or hurt me for attempting a punish when I don't know. And this is where the argument can become a little bit tricky, right? Because it becomes a sort of a spectrum and a sliding scale. Obviously, this is not as bad as using software that gives you, macros for free electrics or backdashing. It's not as bad as using automatic ducking or automatic parrying or automatic counter hits or anything like that. But it still is really, really bad. You can make the argument that killing 100 people is way worse than killing one person. You might even say that it's 100 times worse. But I don't think that's an argument for it being okay to kill one person. And I also need to say that I obviously not a perfect analogy comparing death of real people in the real world to cheating in Tekken. But it's just an analogy that came into my head on the fly. But okay, let's have a quick look at what happens in this game against Overlay Hans. And again, I'm not accusing Overlay Hans of using any kind of cheating outside of the overlay. And he actually showed up in my chat and he said, hey, I'm the cheater, haha. And we kind of had a laugh about it, and I played him multiple times. because I felt like having an overlay, yeah, it's an unfair advantage, but it's, small enough of an advantage that I can at least play a couple of games here before I move on. Maybe I shouldn't have, maybe I should have taken a stand, whatever. But after Mike, my secret spy contact told me that he thought I was playing against multiple people using cheats, I went back and looked at some of these matches, and I want you to show you one situation that happens right here. So I've just launched my opponent with a hop kick. I'm going to do a combo right here, and look what happens when I run up and try and seal the round, seal the deal on the round and take the round.
Oh no! How's that even possible? Damn!
Alright, so what you can see right there is what happened was, and you can see my reaction as well. It's kind of telling because I went, how is that possible? Now, I need to be clear. Again, I'm not accusing anybody of anything. What happened right there is very possible. But if you look closely at it, the reason I probably felt a little bit strange about it is this. I'm applying a one jab and I'm having my one jab blocked. And if you don't play a lot of Tekken, I'm just going to explain that quickly. A one jab gives you a small amount of advantage when it's blocked in this game, which means that you usually set up other moves or set up your offense by first forcing the opponent to block a single jab. You get a little bit of advantage and now you can keep going, usually, right? So that gives me 1 frame of advantage. The next thing I do is I apply Miguel's down forward 1, which is a 13 frame move. So a 13 frame move with 1 frame of advantage is effectively going to impact at 12 frames. And what my opponent does is not only swings when it traditionally typically would not be his turn, but then again you can do that, especially if you're applying a counter hit move, but he's specifically applying a counter hit move that is 11 frames. So I'm doing something that is 12 frames, he's counter hitting with it with something that is 11 frames. So down to 1/60th of 1 second. This is the perfect move to use in this situation, where you typically wouldn't swing at all. And it's the one thing that could have launched me in this situation and given my opponent a full combo. Again, not accusing anybody of anything, but that felt extremely clutch and extremely rare and a little bit strange. And I guess, again, I had that feeling that maybe my opponent wasn't reacting to what I was doing as a player. Maybe my opponent's character was actually reacting to the button presses that I were putting into my controller. Probably not, I might be imagining things, but then I kept looking at my VOD, and we can skip ahead to another moment against the exact same player. So this is 3:48:30. 3:48:30, okay, so around here. Now what's going to happen right here is something very similar to what happened before. I mean, it's down to like the exact same situation, right? Because I am hop kicking my opponent around here. I'm applying a combo that just isn't quite going to kill. I need basically 1 more hit to make this work. 1 jab.
Oh.
I attempt the down forward 1. After the 1 jab, exact same situation, and the exact same perfect response comes out.
Be careful about that. It's so good. Is that 11? Is that 11? Hey, what's up, Almighty Kun? I hope you're doing well too. I'm doing great. I'm eating these counter at 4s though.
And you can tell that I'm kind of confused by how I'm getting hit by these moves. But again, I need to be clear, and I need to say this over and over. I know this person was using overlay and admitting to it and saying it in the chat, but that's the only advantage I know for a fact that this person had over me. But seeing that situation happen twice in a row made me think, okay, could this be a person who is very, very good at applying counter hit 4 with Nina? Absolutely. And if it is, impressive, well done, more power to you. But now that I have this information about what's going on in this game, the fact that these cheaters are so common and that they're everywhere, it's going to make me question things like this. It's going to poison my trust for other players in the online space completely. And I don't really know how it's going to feel the next time I go and grind and play online Tekken, the next time I'm streaming. Is it going to feel the same? Am I secretly going to have to sit there and have my suspicions? And again, you can't really speak out and say stuff like this publicly because you're accusing people of doing something very immoral. And unless you have solid proof, it's not okay. Even if I had solid proof, it's not the kind of thing that I enjoy doing. I just wanted to show you this as an example of a situation. And I started going through other VODs of me streaming and other, grinding sessions that I've had online. And I found places all over that I think somehow don't feel or don't look right. Now, this could be this whole idea, a conspiracy theory messing with my mind, or there could be something serious going on here. I don't have any proof, but I felt like I needed to make a video to show you what is going on, so that we can have, some sort of awareness going on about this, right? And so what happened next is I talked to my girlfriend, who I always talk to for advice, a couple of my friends who play Tekken and make content, and I said, okay, should I make this video and should I talk about this? This is what's going on. This is the information that I have. And what they said was, well, where is Namco in all of this? Because this is so clearly their responsibility. I mean, you can blame the people who cheat, you can blame the people who create and sell the cheats, obviously, but in the end, stuff like that is going to happen. Where are the people responsible for the game and its online structure, and what are they doing? And this is where I again, unfortunately, have to lay this at the feet of Namco. I don't think this should be possible inside of your game. And if you know that it is possible inside of your game, I think it is completely unacceptable that it has been possible for so long and nothing constructive at all has been done about solving it. Absolutely nothing has been done at all. Now, we are all expecting, I'm hoping that we're going to have a Tekken 8 reveal next month at EVO, early in August. And that means that the development of Tekken has now moved completely on to the next game, and Tekken 7 is probably in a big way left behind. But it also means that those of us who want to play Tekken have to play this version of Tekken for, best case scenario, at least one more year. It might be more than that. And if this is what the environment has come to, what's sort of the point of all of that? And I know a lot of people who have cheated in this game are going to watch this video. And I just want to give you a piece of advice as someone who has played the game a lot. I'm not the best player in the world, but I've gotten pretty far with it. The reason that feels good, the reason I really enjoy that, is the fact that I worked for it and that it took many years. The suffering and the work is sort of the point of the whole thing. I know that there are a lot of people out there who want to feel like they are advanced Tekken players, and they want to show others or talk to others in the guise of an advanced Tekken player, but it's gonna feel shitty and fake for as long as you fake it. And really the only way you can redeem yourself if you've done this is uninstall any kind of software that has to do with cheating or advantage in any way. Be transparent and honest about the fact that you have used those things. Start over at beginner rank with no advantage whatsoever, and then work yourself all the way back. And that's really the only way of doing it. There's no such thing as, giving yourself a little bit of a boost so you play against more advanced players and then you can learn more or whatever. It's not about having the rank. It's about gaining it through work and then sustaining yourself at that rank. If you uninstalled all the different cheating softwares that you're using and you played 100 games at the rank you're at right now, I'd be very surprised if you were able to retain it. Because first of all, you'd be playing against, well, two categories of players: people who are much, much better than you, and people who are cheating the same way you used to do, right? So yeah, that's my sort of view on it. But I think it is unacceptable the way that Bandai Namco has handled this, and it's very easy to say when you see people talk about Tekken these days. They go to this. I do it all the time. Hopefully in Tekken 8 we have anti-cheat. Hopefully in Tekken 8 we have better balancing. Hopefully in Tekken 8 we have better netcode and so on. But I think the fact that we're going to have a reveal for Tekken 8 soon, it doesn't make it okay to forget that this happened and is happening every day now to thousands of people all over the world, and is going to be happening probably for the next year or however long people play Tekken 7 for. I think it's worth remembering, and I think it's worth spreading awareness about. I think this is something that, if I'm right about these paranoid like conspiracy theories that are swirling in my head right now, could poison the entire culture. And, people say online doesn't matter, rank doesn't matter, but I don't think that's a really good argument. Namco are happy to say that online doesn't matter because they make their money on the esports scene right now. They want to focus on competitive players with big profiles where they can show Noodle and Red Bull ads while sponsoring some sort of huge event. But the fact of the matter is that the 9 million people who have bought this game at this point, the vast majority of them will never play the game offline, will never go to any kind of event, but they have spent as much money as everybody else, and I think they are owed a half decent experience when they play it. I think online is by far the game mode that matters most because it's the one where all the Tekken matches happen and the mode that all the Tekken players constantly experience. So I think making this mode solid with anti-cheat, with netcode, and with proper balance should be by far the highest priority anybody working on the Tekken project could ever have. And the fact that it's completely silent has made me think something else. And again, I'm speculating here. I think the reason we have complete radio silence from Namco when it comes to these topics is that, they have more sophisticated data than all the rest of us. They know a lot more about everything that happens in online matches than we do. I think they know that it's happening. I think they've been aware of it for a long time. I think they have quite a lot of insight into it. And if you know that it's happening, but you've made this mistake of making the Tekken game files local in all of these millions of computers and systems all around the world, and you have no ability really, unless you invest a massive amount of time and money to, restructure your entire online mode, you have no ability of really fixing it, and so your only real option is to pretend that it's not going on or going completely silent. And I think that's so irresponsible and disgusting that it's in a serious way poisoning my love of this game and this franchise. Doesn't mean that I'm not going to stream it with you guys and have fun playing it anymore, but I'm going to do it with a different perspective going forward, definitely. Thank you so much for watching this video, even though it's kind of depressing. I hope it didn't, completely ruin your enjoyment of the online mode. I'll say one thing here at the end. I played against a couple of people during this 6-hour stream. One guy called DBP, which apparently stands for Dat Ball Player. People in my chat were saying that he's one of the best ball players in Europe, and he was a fantastic player. I played against his Feng, I think, at True Tekken God rank, and it was this intense match where I was losing, but I was close to beating him, and I got super motivated, and I went silent, and I leaned in, and I had so much fun, even though I lost a lot and eventually got demoted in our set. But that was one of the matches where Mike said there was no indication that this person was doing anything suspicious at all. And I think like instinctively I reacted to that and enjoyed the match a lot more. And the end of the stream, I had a giant, I mean it must have been over an hour, maybe a lot more, death match against a Steve player called Kana. And we sort of adapted back and forth, and we played, dozens and dozens of games against one another. And by the end of it, we both had the exact amount of ranking points as when we started, because we were just so evenly matched. I would go on like a 4 or 5 game win streak, then he made that all the way back and so forth. And it was extremely enjoyable, and I loved it. And I can tell for a fact, having played, hours of Tekken against that person, that it felt like real Tekken, and it was really fun. So that stuff is really out there. It's still happening, but now we need to carry these weird and uncomfortable suspicions in our hearts as well. Again, disclaimer, apart from that cheese guy, the Noctis player, I'm not accusing anybody of doing anything immoral, because I have no proof, but I have my suspicions. Yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys again very soon.